Hello student, in our previous video we have covered the different types of the constraint, that is only we have seen the fourth criteria, that is whether they are algebraic equation or algebraic inequality, that is a constraint is expressible in the form of algebraic equation or algebraic inequalities depending on there are two types, that is a bilateral and unilateral, and this criteria is discussed in our previous video. And also we have discussed about the degree of freedom. What do you mean by the degree of freedom, and how the degree of freedom is defined for the particular system. All this discussed in our previous video. Suppose we take a particular point on the particular point in a space, then we know that for that point we require three coordinates to describe the system, and generally these are the three Cartesian coordinate x, y, z. So the degree of freedom for that particular point particle system is the 3. So in this way we have discussed about the degree of freedom. Now in this video we have to discuss about the generalized coordinate, a set of minimum number of independent coordinates required to describe the motion of a system. That means it is also the set of minimum coordinates, but independent coordinates, not dependent coordinates. So these minimum number of independent coordinates required to describe the system is nothing but the generalized coordinate, but this is without constraint, and degree of freedom is with the constraint. Sometimes generalized coordinate is also taken with a constraint. The coordinate are denoted as q1, q2, q3 up to so on qk up to so on qn. That means suppose we take a particular set of coordinates which help us to describe the system. So let's say q1, q2, q3 up to so on qk, that is the middle one of the q1 to qn and up to so on then again qn, where n is the total number of generalized coordinate. That means for the system total, for the n particle system there are total n number of generalized coordinates are required. In fact these are the minimum number of coordinates needed to describe the motion of system, that is it is nothing but the generalized coordinate. Now the examples of the generalized coordinates are for a particle constraint to move on the circumference of a circle, only one generalized coordinate, that is q1 is equal to theta is sufficient, and two generalized coordinate q1 is equal to theta and q2 is equal to phi for a particle moving on a surface of a sphere. Here there are two examples for the generalized coordinate. First example is the particle is moving on a circumference of a circle. As we discussed in our previous video, if particle is moving on a circumference of circle, there is only one coordinate, that is a theta is sufficient to describe the system, because in a circle radius is a constant. So with the help of two polar coordinates, that is a theta r and theta, we are able to describe the system, but in case of circle r is a constant. So theta is only the coordinate which help us to describe the system. So this is the one generalized coordinate for the particle moving on a circumference of a circle. And if we take, if particle is moving on a surface of sphere, if we take sphere and this on the surface of the sphere there is a particle motion, or the particle is moving on the surface of the sphere. So for that we require three coordinates generally, that is three spherical polar coordinate, that is theta, r, theta, phi. Again in a sphere r is a constant, only theta and phi are required to describe the system of a particle, that is a particle moving on a surface of a sphere. So for the particle moving on a surface of sphere there are two generalized coordinates, that is theta and phi. The generalized coordinate for a system of n particle constrained by k equation are f is equal to 3n minus k. Similarly, like a degree of freedom, if we have kth constraint and n number of particles, then the total generalized coordinates are f is equal to 3n minus k. It is not necessary that this coordinate should be rectangular, cylindrical or spherical. We know that there are different coordinate system, that is a Cartesian coordinate system, spherical coordinate system, polar coordinate system, cylindrical coordinate system. We can describe the system with the help of these different coordinate systems, but for the generalized coordinate it is not necessary the coordinate should be rectangular, cylindrical or spherical. It may be sometimes rectangular, sometimes cylindrical, sometimes spherical. So this is the generalized coordinate. In fact, the quantity like length, energy, angle or a dimensionless quantity may be used as a generalized coordinates, but they should completely describe the state of system. Generalized coordinate are those coordinates which help us to describe the state of system, but they should completely describe the state of system, not incompletely but completely. So, and it may be sometimes length, energy or even it also dimensionless quantity. For a system of n particles, if x, y, z are the Cartesian coordinate of ith particles, then this coordinate in terms of q, k are. Suppose we take the system of n particles, and for a particular particle, that is we can say ith particle, the Cartesian coordinates are xi, yi, zi. Why suffix I? Because we consider about the ith particle, so it is easy for notation, that is xi, yi, zi, and these Cartesian coordinates are also expressible in the form of qk, like xi is equal to xi of q1, q2, q3 up to so on qk, and again up to so on qn, and again time. Also yi is equal to, y is a function of q1, q2, q3 up to so on qk, up to so on qn and t. It is expressible in the form of qk's generalized coordinate and time. And also for the z, that is zi is equal to zi of q1, q2, q3 up to so on qk, up to so on qn and t. So the Cartesian coordinate, that is xi, yi, zi for the ith particle of a n particle system is expressible in this form, and these all are the transformation equation for the particular system. Now this is the generalized coordinate. Also we have the generalized velocity. So generalized velocity, the time derivative of generalized coordinate is called generalized velocity. If we take the time derivative of generalized coordinate, suppose q1, q2, q3, q4 up to so on qn, these all are the generalized coordinate which help us to describe the system. And if we take the derivative of these coordinates with respect to time, then we get generalized velocity. That is, if we denote for the generalized velocity q dot, that means q dot, we know that q dot is nothing but dq by dt. The time derivative of q is denoted by q dot. So this is the generalized velocity. The brief discussion about the generalized velocity we will discuss in our next video also, and we can also express this generalized velocity in the form of generalized coordinate. So this expression we will discuss in our next video. So in that video we will continue the generalized velocity.